Why?
Trust human.
I prefer Noah to rule. I like Noah.
Yeah, Noah's a good guy. Noah is a guy that we could all look up to, I think. But humans need to figure it out. So, you know, we'll be here for a while. So he's a good character to aspire to be.
If you wanted to survive in Proximus Caesar's kingdom, you would need to either be a true intellect of some sort that you could teach him some stuff about human culture.
Useful.
Or have a mandolin or a guitar so you could sing him some songs, or a violin, you know.
Where are the dancing girls?
You'd have to be a good dancer, or maybe you could put on plays. You'd have to entertain him. You would have to understand that you would be subservient to this bonobo king.
See, that's the problem right there. So you come and hang out with Raka. I will help you relearn. I can show you books, I can teach you things, we can help each other learn things, you know, we can farm and grow
I will
vegetables
put you
together.
all in cages.
And he'd put you in a cage. So he understands that not only were human beings not as simple as we think, but neither are apes. And as a member or part of an order of Caesar, the simplicity of sort of the three rules where ape shall not kill ape, apes together strong, and apes and humans live side by side, the possibility of a coexisting future is something that he permeates on, because he understands that these civilizations, both ape and human, are not a simple thing. And I think he might even understand why.
Trust human.
Well, that's just gonna get you into lots and lots of more peril and trouble, and you'll be fighting yourself forever, and it's a war. Where's the peace? How do we
There will not be a
evolve?
war.
And you'll be
They
stuck.
will never come to power.
See, that's
How
the
will there
problem.
be a war?
Hubris.
All the movies I grew up on. But, you know, I originally pitched it as Apocalypto with apes, you know. Not that it is a revenge movie necessarily, but just that sense of a little isolated, you know, tribe that was very kind of one with nature, and then it gets invaded by an outside force, and then this character is exposed to this much larger world. That was kind of what I was talking about when I pitched it that way. But other than that, you know, the original Planet of the Apes, that's a lot of inspiration too. You know, all those movies, 9 movies before us.
It's a gigantic difference of interpretation, which is fantastic because it's so real. I mean, you know, you just look at the world today and people interpret words differently, and people fight over those differences of interpretation. You know, I think that's a really great representation. I mean, Proximus is, you know, comes from a different environment than Raka came. So he, you know, he became very early. He became aware of human history, human nature, and the rise and fall of humans from the birth of Homo sapiens to 300 years ago before this movie began. So as much as he loves them, he also knows that the only way that they could be around in this time while apes are at the apex of this society, of this world, is to keep them as basically his inferiors. Because if humans take over, he understands that he may very well end up in a laboratory being experimented on. He may be poached. He may be put in a zoo behind cages. Rise for me.
Well, that's hard.
I mean, the 1968 version is what made me want to become an actor. I was like, oh my God, these people.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, these apes are talking. My mom said, no, those are actors. And I thought, I could act and get paid to do that. They were like, yeah, I started ape running from this. So that was probably the most influential. But then the last trilogy, I have to say Rise was probably my favorite just because I had no idea that Andy Serkis was playing that guy. I thought that was a chimp that they had trained. I had no idea how they did that.
Yeah, no, that was the beginning of it all. I think War, for me, it so far is my favorite because, and that's yet to be determined. This is
Raka's favorite is War.
Well, I tell you,
no, it's amazing.
I tell you why, because I feel like that's the most information for me in terms of where we pick up.
I think mine was Tim Burton's Batman. That's what I remember, I think.
Maybe it was like, oh, I don't know.
I actually haven't got a clue. When did Lion King come out?
I saw Narnia, Chronicles of Narnia. That's one of the first ones I remember.
Interesting. How old were you for that?
I mean, it wouldn't have been my first one because I would have seen some cartoony ones
Yeah,
before.
but at least you remember it. I'm sure mine isn't the first one either. It's just one I remember being in the theater.
Same.
Yeah.
I think I must have been like 10 or 9
Yeah,
or something.
that's probably about what I was for Batman.
Yeah.
I think it was about 8 or something.
That I have to imagine a lot of things and often have to interact with nothing. That's probably the biggest challenge. A lot of green screens. Although we didn't have too many green screens on
didn't have a lot of
ours,
green screen on ours,
but
yeah.
but I definitely had a lot of imagining.
Yeah.
In this, oh well, yeah, smack bang into that. I had to hug the air on one of my first days because basically I had to shoot the scenes with the actors playing the apes and then without them. So I had to do very silly things like that, and I definitely felt like an idiot.
She hit it well.
Ooh.
Penguin.
An elephant.
He just seems cool. They can fly around on the water and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know, and they kind of waddle around.
I can see you being a penguin.
They have little bow ties built in. It's kind of cool.
Nice, yeah. Mine's an elephant.
An elephant.
I love elephants.
Okay, cool.